All right, this is the first of a three-part series on Jazz Grass Waltz written by Slim Ritchie. So today I'm going to teach you the chord changes, and then in two following episodes I'm going to teach you Joe Carr's mandolin solo to Jazz Grass Waltz. So we're in the key of E minor, and the first chord you need is an E minor 7. Looks like this. That's your middle finger on the 4th fret of the G string. That's a B note. Your index finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, that's an E note, and your ring finger on the 5th fret of the A string, that's a D note. Now your pinky on all of these chords is going to hang out here on the E string, and it's going to mute the E string by barely touching it. You're not going to push down so it makes a note, you just want it to touch so that it makes that muted sound. All of these chords are going to have that E string muted. It doesn't fit in as well with the rest of the notes in these chord changes. So that's our E minor 7 chord. Now we need an A7 chord. The A7 chord is going to be your middle finger on fret 6 of the G string. That's a C sharp note. Your index finger on fret 5 of the D string. That's a G note. Your ring finger on fret 7 of the A string, that's an E note, and then your pinky is going to mute that E string. The next chord you need is a D minor 7. It looks a lot like the A7 shape. You're going to put your middle finger on the 5th fret of the G string, that's a C note. Your index finger on the 3rd fret of the D string, it's an F note, and your ring finger on the 5th fret of the A string. That's a D note. And then your pinky is going to block that E string. The next one we need is a G7. This is the same as your A7. Move 2 frets down or 2 frets to your left. The notes are fret 4 of the G string. That's a B note. Fret 3 of the D string. That's an F note. Fret 5 of the A string. That's a D note. And then we're going to block that E string because it's too tiny for this chord. Now you'll notice between the D7 and the G7 there's only one note difference. So if you set up your D minor 7 here, all you have to do is move that finger over. You don't have to pick up the whole chord, you just move your ring finger or your middle finger down 1 fret. Now it's a G7. The next chord you need is a C7. And this one's going to be fret 3 of the G string, that's a B flat, fret 2 of the D string, that's an E note, fret 3 of the A string, that's a C note. So that's middle finger on fret 3, index finger on fret 2, ring finger on fret 3. Now to make your B7 chord, we're going to take that chord, we're going to move it 1 fret down, that's 1 fret to your left, and it becomes a B7 chord. And those notes are middle finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, that's an A note. Index finger on the 1st fret of the D string, that's a D sharp note. Ring finger on the 2nd fret of your A string, that's a B note. So these are all the changes to Jazz Grass Waltz. Now they go in this order. E minor 7 to A7, then E minor 7 again to A7, E minor 7 again to A7, C7, B7, E minor 7, A7, D minor 7, G7, C7 to B7, and then E minor 7, A7, E minor 7, A7. Alright, now that you know the chords, you've got to learn a strum pattern to play with this. There's a lot of different strum patterns you can use. What you don't want to use is your normal mandolin boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck that we're used to using for waltzes. For this song, we want something a little bit more laid back and groovy. So one of the patterns you could use is down, up, and then rest. And it sounds like this. So I'm just going down, up, and resting. So Now there's a variation on this where you add 2 muted notes at the end. And you do that by lifting your fingers up so the strings don't make a sound anymore, just a muted tone. And you're going to let your pick drag down and up again over the strings. So that gives us this. Another one I like to use is a little simpler, and it's just a down and an up, and it sounds like this. Now you can mix in some extra downs and ups and play those over the strings muted, like the last pattern, which would make it sound like this. And the slower, that's... that. Alright, I'm going to play the whole chord progression now, and you can follow along and try to play with me. I'll play it as slow as I can without losing the groove, and then I'll play it fast for you. Now if you want a lead sheet to follow along on, I have at my website, thenately.com, free transcriptions written out in notation and tablature. So go to thenately.com and you can pull up a lead sheet to this music and follow along while you're playing it. So here's the tune. We'll start out at this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, here it is a little quicker. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so there's the chords. Keep an eye out for future videos where I will teach the melody to Jazz Grass Waltz and Joe Carr's mandolin solo. Until then, practice these chords with a metronome and see what different grooves you can come up with for backup. If you'd like to hear a recording of this song, it is recorded on Jazz Grass, put out by Ridge Runner Records. It is available on CD from Slim Richie in Driftwood, Texas. I will also be recording this song on my upcoming album, which will be available for sale later in 2015.